And now I think we should, of course, start off the day with your top 5, no?
I'll start with the so this is Zion T with Acme called V parentheses peace.
Peace.
Might not count for 2023 since it came so late in the year, but I feel like the chorus and the pre-chorus are so airtight for myself personally that I just really wanted to give it a lot of praise and a lot of love. It uses one of my favorite uses of the circle of fifths progression of the year, which is like a 2-5-1 progression, going from because we're in B flat major. I'm using a 2-5-1 progression where it's like a dum ba bum, and it really is kind of like the staple of like a lot of like jazz progressions and a lot of other progressions going on in a lot of different genres. Every time I hear it in just like songs that are coming out today, K-pop and otherwise, I always tune my ear to it because usually it's orchestrated and surrounded really well. And the thing that I like about this song in particular, it uses extensions of the 2-5-1 progression like after it lands on 1.
Your love for this song is mostly just for the progression? Or other elements as well?
Yeah, the progression and how it substitutes different chords. So here there's like a bum ba bum, but there's times where it's like a bum ba ba bum. And that basically is going into a G major chord, which then would be the 5 of a C minor chord, which is the 2-5-2 of the 2-5-1, which I really think is cool to have that in this song. Also, you hear a time where they substitute the F, which is the 5, with a D minor chord, which just kind of gives it a little bit more tonal ambiguity, where it's kind of like, oh, this doesn't have the same pull as a 5 chord, so it kind of feels like it's drifting through space rather than acting as a springboard into our tonic or into our B flat major. There's a lot of musical complexity in that pre-chorus into the chorus that I really appreciate. Last thing that I'll note is that there's a really awesome fake out in this song where the second verse starts with Zion T singing, and you're like, oh, this is just gonna be another verse. And like right in the middle of his line, she starts singing, and you're just like, whoa, this is actually when the feature comes in.
Mart, how
you hear me?
Yeah, Zion T was he started off the second verse, but then suddenly Suhyun is like, nope, it's my turn.
Yeah. You're like, actually, I'm gonna take that from you, and this is my verse now. And I love that. The next song is Die For You by Dean. This one came out also pretty recently, so I think this came out like either October or November. First of all, having a Dean song come back like this, I just was absolutely thrilled with it. The thing that I really love about this song is the atmosphere, like how he builds his textures. The guitar tone that he uses is so like crisp and clear, and then going from that into like drums that like bounce and that like move and like feel. It's like, and I really love that juxtaposition, especially when the strings and the choirs get really like lush, and it's just like feels like it's like waves of sound like cascading all over you, and it's like, oh, whoa, 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 all over this kind of like march, like. There's one chord that I want to point out that I just think is so cool. Me tells me that we're kind of in like an F sharp minor a little bit, because that ba ba to me sounds like a ba, which is like the 4 of A major, into a ba, which is like a 3 of A major, which you'd be saying, Sam, how can you tell anything from that? But hearing those chords together reminds me of when songs go from like a ba ba. The resolution would be like ba ba ba. So that C sharp kind of acts more as like a 5 to F sharp minor. So that 4 really is nebulous enough so that way it can sound like it's either in A major or F sharp minor, which is its relative minor. And relative minor just means if it shares the same key signature. So the thing that I love about the chord that I was talking about, and I'll bring it up right here. D major, instead of ba ba being a C sharp minor chord, it changes it to a C sharp major dominant chord to really be like, this is like a nebulous kind of waiting in time kind of song, just smacking you in the face and being like, you're an F sharp minor now. You are actually now tonicizing into this key, and you're gonna like it. This is actually a minor song. This is actually a dark song. This is actually a song that has like a lot of just like, yeah, it just gives it such like a darker color and a more like tempered color, which I think is awesome. I don't wanna go till everything comes crashing down. It gives this aimless song like drive, like a pulse, kind of like a head bang, kind of like a head bop, or kind of like a vibe, something to bounce your head to. I think how he balances atmosphere with a driving pulse is really, really well done.
You said the synth patterns swell?
Yeah, they swell and they really like swallow you. Oh. And it really contributes to that sound and to that atmosphere, in my opinion. It really like continues like this directionless like feeling while having like a pulse and having direction, which I think is really, really cool.
Yuragi Falling.
The thing that I really want to highlight about this song is the arc, how it kind of travels and dynamically where it goes, and how the chord progression helps the dynamics of this tune. Lots of pedal tones, lots of one staying like technically speaking in like really 2 chords of chord land, like the 1 and the 4, and the 4 really is there to emphasize the 1 per se. So it like really is kind of like this slow, soft beginning that really contributes to kind of the style that it's going for. Something that's really like low fidelity, like almost like lullaby rock song. The idea here is like the softness of it and like where it like begins, because once it gets to the kind of the biggest part of this tune, which is like right at 248, and play it, you can just hear how not only does it feel much like a release, like a catharsis, but it opens up to a new chord progression, and it's the first time it uses this chord progression, and it just is such a special moment. It starts like so soft, and then it just explodes into this like catharsis, into this chord progression that almost uses much more open chords to feel like emotional, to feel like this is like the moment of like a of age movie where like you're like on top of the bridge and like you're looking at like the city, and it's just like the tears come falling down. Like it's just so emotional. It's so like raw and emotional. And I am just so blown away by Yuragi to make this come to life. So really, if I know like Yuragi isn't the most like popular artist, but you should really everyone if you're interested, you should really give them a listen, because what they're doing with rock, I think is just absolutely fantastic.
Wow, you really do love like colorful yet dark, like rock and R&B songs, I feel like.
I love music that's just so like colorful in that way. I just love music that's so like rawly emotional, and like it wears its heart on its sleeve and it isn't afraid to be like emotional in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna talk about a song by Tomio called Shoot a Movie With You. I think for me is the best written song.
Whoa.
In terms of pacing, because I think the pacing of this song like really is so accessible and is so like you can tell immediately like right off the bat. The hooks are fantastic. The melodic progression to go from the verse to the pre-chorus to the chorus are all so well written. The chords are great. The guitar tone is just fantastic. It really kind of falls into the Korean shoegaze kind of genre, I would say. So many different counter melodies I want to point out, or a couple of different counter melodies I really, especially in the chorus. The counter melody between the vocal and the guitar line is just phenomenal. That melody, that ba-da-ba, 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 is so catchy. One of the big things that can help with that is repetition. How repeatable is a motive that you are putting into your tune, into your melody? That little line of ba-da-ba, 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 I could remember that like all the time. I could like hear that literally as soon as I turn off the song. And also the chords that she uses are great. An A flat chord in a B flat major song is so like grungy. And I just love how guitars are pretty light in this song, or at least in the verses, the guitars are pretty light. But that line, that da 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 ba ba, like, and how is so memorable and so repeatable. It feels iconic to me. And to counter that with that ba da ba ba, that syncopated, really like fuzzed out, distorted guitar is just such a great counter melody to that line that I am just absolutely obsessed with.
Right. There would be a total difference if it was the melody repeated over and over, and if the like guitar line was also repeated over and over and it like wasn't syncopated. But the fact that it is syncopated and it adds like, it lines up differently each time with the vocal melody, it like, you know, it adds like a lot of tension and release, right?
Exactly. There's so much tension and there's so much release.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of going into the pacing, this song just feels so airtight. Like the verse, not a single second of spaces. This is more of a theoretical thought that I have rather than one that I can really demonstrate. But something that I really appreciate in songs and in songwriting is when a song feels really airtight melodically. Like just like there's always something being thrown at you to like lure you in, like at every second.
Gotcha. So it's just hook after hook after hook after hook after hook after hook. Okay, last but not least.
And that will lead us to my personal favorite song of the year. And this song to me like stretches beyond all other music genre that came out this year. Polaris by this band called Parannoul. And this came out like very, 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 very beginning of the year. Like I'm talking like January like 18th or something like that of 2023. Like if not January, then like very, very early February. Like it was the very beginning of the year. And throughout this entire year, this became like the song that I compared everything to, because I just am absolutely in disbelief at how good this song is. This to me is like a marvel of songwriting. It has like everything that I love in a tune and then some. Ultimately, the thing that really ties this together, I'm gonna start with the chord progression, because it is using really open chords on the guitar. So it's like a B major chord into an E major chord, and they use like a major 7th chord in there just to really like open it up and feel like even more emotional. And it layers it on top of digital drums that work really well.
I got tears in my eyes, man. Wow.
All of the little like the robotic metallic textures with this like guitar that I can only call like heterochromatic. Like it literally looks like you're like listening to a rainbow. You're like listening to like this kaleidoscopic rainbow right now. It punches you in the face, but yet it still is like growing in intensity because you can hear these massive kick drums going like 4 on the floor, like boom, 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 boom. But they're still like gaining intensity. And it leads to my favorite moment in music of the year, which is this
There's a
drop
better moment
out of sound.
There's more?
Yeah, but just listen to this dropout because it is so unbelievable. I just like, oh, Parannoul, I can't believe how good you are. I'm gonna start it and you're gonna hear what I'm talking about, and it is just unbelievable because then after the part that I'm talking about, it goes back into the original melody and it just feels like this catharsis.
Wow. I'm kind of like, I'm left breathless almost from listening to that.
That moment where there's just like a pause of sound. It's like it's throwing everything at you, and all of a sudden it takes everything away, and you're just like left. It's almost like this is gonna sound so cheesy, but it sounds like a reminiscing feeling where there's like wind chimes, and the only way I can really because I really like being analytical when describing why I feel the way I feel about certain songs and certain music. But this song, this moment is so intense that I can only attach it to like visceral, like sensory feelings for myself.
Yeah. And
just like taking everything away and just hearing that almost like wind chime feeling, it's just like, oh my gosh, what is this? It's my favorite moment in all of music of this year. Of this entire year. To go back right in with that melody that you heard from the beginning, where it's like, so that'll do it. That's my top 5 of this year.
Wow.
We kind of went all over the place, but
yeah, no, I'm just, you know what,
have it.
I'm excited that I know some of the songs that you talked about, because I know you tend to find like hidden gems. And so I'm just like, phew, I know a few of them. Because let's just say I too have a song from Zion T's album for this
Let's
list.
go.
So shall we switch over to me screen sharing? Okay, so this category is our miscellaneous category, right? This is like K-pop adjacent. So I chose to shout out a song that has like pop form, but I'm arguing it's like K-EDM. It's a soundtrack for a rhythm game. This is called Tic-Tac-Toe, and it was composed by the producer or DJ Tak and top-lined by Corbin. And let me just play the first 30 seconds of the song. So I think it can speak for itself, literally just the first 30 seconds. Just those first 30 seconds.
Oh my god.
It's insane. It's insane. We just went through so many different textures, so many different vibes. It really just like grabs your attention and like it holds your head. It's like you're like paying 1000% attention to me right now, and your attention is going nowhere else because you're wondering where the heck this song is gonna go, because we just featured so many different vibes just like right there. Next, I want to play for you guys the drop of the song, because sure, you can argue that like EDM, like one of the most important things about EDM is the weight of the song. It's the beat of the song. It's where you want to like, you feel the lift, and where you feel everything come crashing down when the drop happens. This song, like the weight is constantly played with. There's like a lot of little drops within it. So right there, just right there, it's a little fake out. He fakes this out. There's like so many minuscule drops within the big drops. You know what I'm saying? I want to say like the rhythm usage here, the drop usage in this song is very thoughtful. So for example, when you hear a riser being added, it doesn't happen just before the main drop of the song. Or when you hear extra layers being added in to emphasize the vocals. That's why I feel like this song is so successful, and the example is at 50 seconds. And then like just right there, we go from this very full sound of the initial drop to a post-chorus, or chorus part 2, where it's just very staccato, very accented
bass
hits with the bass, with so much silence in between the hits. So like little like woo, or like little textures that would initially be covered up by like a wall of sound, like are able to appear because we have sudden moments of silence. I want to point out some of the top lining. I really like the second verse. Da, 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 da. Which is different from last time. I even did like, I tried to hit where I thought it was going to hit like it did in the first verse, but it didn't do that here. So I really love the development of the material, and they throw in some chromaticism, they throw in some color notes. Da 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 da. So it like covers a lot of register, it has a lot of colors in the melody. The absolute high point of this song. Bruh! Oh my god, I just get so hyped. Like, I just, you feel like you're in a video game. What is it called? Like Mario Kart? Are you on Rainbow Road or something, Woo!
Ain't no way.
Woo! Yeah, that synth, it like takes you on a journey. You're like, you know what? You've been partying this entire time, but now let's like blow the roof off of your house. Similar to like your Paranel song, there's moments in this song where it just kind of like, it hits you and you're like, whoa! And your heart starts racing, and you start breathing harder. Up next, my friends, we're gonna go Zion T Stranger. Are you familiar with this song, Sam?
Yes.
Woo! This one, oh my goodness. The first time I watched this music video and heard this song, my jaw was on the floor. It's so simplistic, but yeah, there's so much depth to the song. You can vouch, So the very beginning, it's kind of like you're wandering down a street. Maybe you pass a couple walking their dog. And the first word he starts with is alone. 혼자. Like a legato style almost. It's or tenuto shall I say. It's elongated. 혼자. And then he goes 혼자. Like he speeds it up. And just that alone, like hearing the same lyric, but delivered two different ways. And that is just a small example of what I think is so brilliant about the melody of this song, is it feels so conversational. And not only does it feel conversational, like sure, some songs you could imagine like, oh, these are different people talking to each other, but no, this is him talking to himself, it sounds like. Because there's a lot of, I want to say, dialogue between just like the different rhythms he sings. 혼자, 혼자, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. And it's like the melody changes character throughout. And of course, there are even times in which he maybe shares a conversation with the instrumental. And then the guitar has a little reply. I think it's just so quirky, so cute. And then when you read the lyrics, there's like a lot of depth into like a discussion about I think he had specifically had a very famous actor in the music video to portray someone who is well known, but not a lot of people know him. And I think that's the meaning of the song. And so on the surface it's like very quirky and you can like bop your head along to it. Like there's depth to it. And there's stuff that makes you scratch your head. And you're like, whoa, what is he really saying? There's just like something about this song that like hits all the buttons for me, all the happy buttons, had some mid-register da 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 dee dum, and it goes lower da da dee da dum, and then it goes da 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 da. It just like it jumps a giant leap up and just climbs down a scale. And so not only does this melody have personality and character, but it also covers a lot of register, a lot of range. It doesn't just go like da 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 da, you know, it's like so it's like ear candy for me as well. We've got a ton of analog instrumentals here, and then the entire time during this entire instrumental outro, we've got Zanti making some weird like huffing noises in the background. He's like he's like in the background the entire time, and just right there he was like da da. I wanna like write an essay on it and discuss it with people. Like, what's going on here? Let's talk more about it. So up next, Ijina. I will be talking about 2 Ijina songs actually. This first one is called Mystery Village, and this is one that Ijina wrote while she took a 2-month break and stayed a couple weeks in New York City. She went to San Francisco, she went to Paris, she went to different cities. And this album is called Heart of the City, or Hearts of the City. And it's inspired by what she saw. I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry, I'm not gonna cry. That back off? You can probably imagine yourself in some sort of video game, some sort of movie, you're probably out in nature. The overall arching theme of this song is hope and imagination. Ijina is telling her listeners to be brave, like you can power through whatever is holding you back. As we're listening to this song, we're going into like really bright, cute places where you triumph. We're going through dark places which may represent, you know, like a bad spot for yourself. And it goes on that for a minute or two. It is a solo that takes its time to develop. And now let me read you the lyrics. Trees and grass are in abundance here. People hold mysterious mirrors in their hands. Their facial expressions are hard to read. People crave more jewels as they follow their endless desire. They become blinded by their lust. Wake up from your sleep. Save one another. In an interview, she confirmed that the mysterious mirrors is the representation of phones. You know, you see something on the internet and you become obsessed with it and you want to achieve it and you become addicted to it, and you don't put your phone down to actually look around you and see if anyone needs help. So not only is there musical depth, but lyrical depth as well. So that's, I think, just like by the amount of times I've cried through this song, I think this is like my #1 song of 2023. Speaking of emotional journey, we're now gonna listen to another Ijina song. And this one's super interesting because there are no lyrics in this one. This one, it's just the music and her voice humming tells everything that you need to know. I have no idea what the meaning of this song is. It's called Dreams of Sadness. And you might think as it goes on, you're like, damn, this is getting repetitive. But instead of focusing on the fact that she's singing the same thing over and over, just allow it to kind of wash over you and calm you down. Because this song is like my go-to if I'm having, if I'm feeling an anxiety attack come on, I go to this song and it's So the first time I was listening to this, I was getting lulled into a sense of, oh, this is just gonna keep repeating over and over and over. And I did a really quick analysis last night. Ringle in our chat can correct me. Ringle Gollum can correct me if I'm wrong. I believe this is in B flat minor. Sam, you can correct me if I'm wrong as well. It's kind of hard to just tell from that beginning melody. But we're repeating the same
it's
notes.
in B flat minor.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. We're repeating the same notes over and over, and all the notes are very diatonic to this B flat minor key. It's notes that you expect. It resolves where you think it's gonna go. And so it's this sudden color change. And you're kind of, if you had your eyes closed for the first 3 repetitions, you see a sudden burst of light, or not sudden burst, but like a light starts to fade in. at that 7. And then the note that she rests on in the end. Ooh, major, raised 3, does not belong to D minor.
Good lord.
Oh my goodness. And suddenly the darkness that you see around you brightens up. Yeah, just cleared my throat, not crying at all.
What in the world?
And then it just like gets more hype from there. Next, so like at this point, I'm like, okay, like if you're anxious, if you're feeling sad, you start to feel teared up with that beautiful, just like conversation the instruments just had right there. So we started like a lullaby. We went to a groovy section. We're back to a lullaby. Ijina, Dreams of Sadness, feat Jin Ho Hong. Oh my goodness. I hope it brings you as much comfort as it does for me. So last but not least, I love the fact he released this in 2023 because now I can officially talk about this. But this was a song that was initially unofficially released, or maybe on his YouTube channel. This was released in 2020. But now it was finally released on a 2023 album. So that means I can talk about it, right? This is Ij 50 Proof. For those who do not know, Ij was a Day 6 member. Now he's doing solo stuff in America. This was his solo project while he was still in the group, and now he finally released it on an album. What I think helps this song is the fact that the chord progression is so long. And so if he repeats the same vocal melody, you get different colors supporting that melody. And so what happens is throughout this entire song, which is basically the length of half a song, this is 2 minutes long, we've got this 8 chord progression, but the final 2 chords change every single time. The cadence changes as it leads into a new section. So I think that's just really, really smart writing. If you watch my reaction to this song, I'm a sucker for harmony. That if you have a note, and it stays the same thing, and the melody keeps going on, and it's just the same note, and then above it, you have another note that keeps changing all over the drone beneath. And so that's what happens with the vocal layers here. It tears your heart out, and it takes its time. It does not rush. It slowly develops. It's just so colorful and so emotional. I think that's what we have in common with our taste in music, Sam. Oh, we like our feelsy, our very feelsy vibes. Yeah, you can listen to it on loop for hours. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is our top 5s of our miscellaneous 2023 K-pop 2023 category. And so without further ado, Sam, thank you so much for your time today. This was amazing. I'm sure we'll have you back on soon, right?
Yes, absolutely. Literally anytime.
Fantastic. All right, well, take care, Sam. If you guys want to go follow him, he's Sam Ya on Instagram. So thanks again, Sam. I'll talk to you later.
Of course.
Bye.
Have a good day.
Have a nice day. Woo. Okay, my friends. Let me drag this off screen really quickly and call